Hi, my name's Isaac Shutt. I'm an estate planning and probate attorney licensed both in Texas and in Wyoming. And today I'm going to talk with you about an estate planner's worst nightmare. And it's a book, and it's called Die with Zero. And honestly, I loved this book. Even as an estate planner, I thought this book was awesome. And really, the reason I think it's an estate planner's worst nightmare is because, as you can tell from the title of the book, it's all about planning your life and finances around dying with nothing. And if you die with nothing, then why do you need a will or a trust or things like that? But this is a totally honest review, and I'm going to talk with you about why I think it's such a great book. So I've got a few notes with me. First of all, I actually don't think this document is going to put estate planners out of business. And that's because estate planning is a lot more broad than just who gets what when I die. We do wills and trusts and things like that that do handle assets, when you pass away. But the thing is, we don't know exactly when we're going to pass away. So saying that I'm going to try to die with zero may be great in concept, but you don't know that you're going to time that perfectly. So even if you aspired to do that, there's an extremely high likelihood that you'll die with something that's not zero, and you wouldn't want that, whatever that resource is that's left over, to go to the state or the government or taxes or whatever. So even if you plan to die with zero, still get a will, still get a trust, please. But I do want to talk to you about this as it relates to doing your will or trust. The author makes a really good argument, and an argument that I would echo in my practice, that people relatively thoughtlessly just give everything to their kids. So what we see is, we have Bob and Susan come in to do their wills with us, and they say, you know what, I want everything to go to my spouse if only one of us dies, and if we both die, I want it to go 50-50 to our two daughters, Jason and Janet. And you think, okay, well, that sounds normal, that sounds logical, that sounds great, and things like that. And they haven't really given a whole lot of thought to several factors. One factor is, do Jason and Janet really need it? Sometimes when you talk to the client about their kids' situation, their kids are actually way wealthier than the parents. And so actually getting that inheritance isn't going to mean much to their lives. And so maybe you should think about other beneficiaries. Maybe you should give things to grandkids who, when you pass away, can get a lot more utility out of those funds than your kids can. Also, when you start talking to people and you realize that maybe the Jason and Janet in this example, don't have a real strong need, but the client actually has a passion about some charity. Maybe there's a church or missions organization or some charity worldwide that could save lives. And so just thoughtlessly giving it to Jason and Janet when really it's going to have no impact on their lives is oftentimes not the best way to go. The author also makes a really compelling argument for making gifts now and not waiting. So like I just gave the example a minute ago about where potentially the client who's doing their will doesn't have nearly as much assets as the kids, Jason and Janet. But sometimes you see the opposite happen. And Jason and Janet really don't have a lot of financial resources, and the client does have a lot of financial resources. In fact, sometimes the client has way more financial resources than they'll ever need. And so instead of waiting till you die to give them assets, the author argues that you should help them now. And you know what? This is definitely a theme that we've seen in our law office where the kids have, maybe they're just teachers or, maybe they have other low-paying jobs, but they're wonderful people. And if you're a millionaire, $20,000 is probably not going to move the dial that much in terms of your life, but it could be a huge game changer for Janet, who's a school teacher. So you could help her with a down payment on a house, which may help her have a lower interest rate, which will pay huge dividends for many, many years. And so this is really a theme that we've seen with estate planning is kind of in the American society. The way we do is as parents, we try to save as much as we can. We have this will, which we keep a big secret. And then we pass away and boom, these kids get this windfall. And for a lot of times, it doesn't make sense. It's really not well thought out, not in terms of the literal documents, but in terms of, did that plan overall make sense? Would it have been better to give money to other institutions or to give money away earlier or things like that? So I really love this book because honestly, I don't think it's going to put estate planners out of business, but I hope that it makes the public think more broadly about what estate planning is. It's not just a set of documents for when I die. It's how do I want things to go? How can I help? What is the best use of these financial resources? And I really, really hope that people get a lot more thoughtful about those things as time goes on. And here's one that I just have to mention because this comes to our office pretty often. We'll get somebody, oftentimes a widow, who comes into our office and is really just appearing to scrimp by. She eats the cheapest foods. She will not go on vacation. She'll make no updates to her home. She just lives as frugally as possible. And it's not because she enjoys all those things. It's because she's trying to preserve for her kids. So she may not even be somebody who is poor, really. She's just sort of living like a poor person, even though she has the financial wherewithal to live a more enjoyable lifestyle. And the reason she does it, when you ask her, is not even necessarily because she's worried about running out of money as time goes on. It's because she's trying to save as much as possible for her kids. And let me just tell you what happens when that lady dies and then her kids come to our office to handle the probate of that estate. They come rolling in a BMW SUV, drinking a $7 Starbucks, and they just don't care about the type of cost that mama cared about. And so the way I think about that is it makes me sad for the lady who had done her will all those years ago. It makes me sad for her because I think of all the vacations she didn't take. And had she asked her kids, hey, would you rather me save this money or would you rather me go on this big trip? If she had actually asked, her kids would probably say, you know what, Mom, we would love for you to go on that trip. Frankly, they might say, can we come too? And so, Mom just kind of keeps it a secret and, saves and doesn't even tell her kids what level of assets she has. They don't communicate at all. And she's trying to do what she thinks is the right thing. But had she actually talked with them, they would have said, you know what, Mom, use it on yourself. Go buy that car. You love that quilting stuff. Go get the quilting stuff. Go on that vacation. Do that stuff. Enjoy yourself. And so sometimes I'm really sad for these people because I think had that lady talked with her kids, they would have said, Mom, go, enjoy yourself. We love you. We want these things for you. And so again, when you get to this theme of American style estate planning, in my mind, it's remarkably thoughtless. We just kind of do it the way we've always done it. Keep it a big secret, stockpile away, hope that it'll be there when we pass away. And I hope this book, Die with Zero, opens people up to a more broad interpretation of what estate planning really is. And I also hope that as part of that process, you will consider talking with an attorney. And again, I'm licensed in Texas and in Wyoming, and I'd love to have a conversation with you about it.